Kaswa Wadlachan. Welcome everyone to Yahlnaaw Uu.iijii. It's Yahlnaaw. I know that learning parts of a new language can be tough, especially when it's a language you may have never heard of before. Today, we're going to go over some, but not all, of the intricate Xaadya Kil Skidegate Haida sounds. This should help you in future Yahlnaaw Uu.iijii clips. Here are the sounds we're going to go over. These are the more frequently used ones. Going over all the sounds and language structures within Xaadya Kil, the Skidegate Haida language, would take more than just this session. Think of this as a beginner's crash course. Our very first sound that we're going to go over is D. Can you say D? So you'll notice that there are two ways to spell D at the top. The one that has two L's simply indicates that it's longer. So we've got D and D. Very easy. This sound is made by putting your tongue to the roof of your mouth, behind your front teeth, and making a D sound out the sides. D. An example of this sound is the word for wash, which is dlan. Can you say dlan? Dlan is something that all of us have been doing a lot recently due to current circumstances. Our next sound is a G with an underline, like a glottal stop. So this sound goes like Can you make the sound So is made deep down in your throat. It's almost as though you're making a G sound, but you're cutting it off and only letting part of the sound through. An example of the sound used in a word is the word for water, which is qandl. Can you say qandl? You'll notice that we're using this new sound, and the sound we just did, dl, in the same word. Our next sound is HL or HLL. Same with the dl sound, another L indicates that it's longer. An example of this sound used in a word is in my name, Yahlnaaw. Can you say Yahlnaaw? So this sound is made by putting your tongue to the roof of your mouth, the same way we did with dl, and blowing air out the sides, but adding an H sound. Can you make that sound? Our next sound is K with a tick, is what we call it. And that sound goes like, can you make the sound? So to make this sound, you put your tongue, again, kind of to the roof of your mouth, but in the middle, and you're making a clicking sound at the top of your mouth. It's coming from the top of your mouth / the back of your throat and being projected outward. A word that uses this sound is the word for small or little, which is kamju. Can you say kamju? Our next sound is another K, and this is a K with an underline, which makes the sound. Can you make the sound? So to make this sound, it is coming from the back of your throat, but at the very top, right where your throat reaches your mouth. And it's almost like a clearing your throat noise, but with a K sound. An example of this sound used in a word is the word ping, which means to see or seeing or sight. Can you say ping? Our next sound is another K sound. This one is what we call a loaded K, meaning it has an underline and a tick. So this sound sounds like, which is very similar to the other Ks, but it's almost more aggressive in my opinion. So this sound is also coming from your throat, but a little farther down and with a little more force from your diaphragm. So an example of this sound used in a word is the word for porpoise, which is qang. Can you say qang? A little difficult. So the difference between the three K sounds, the first K sound comes from the top of your mouth, slash the back of your throat, but more so the top of your mouth, making a k sound. The next one comes from the top of your throat, making a sound. The last K, the loaded K, comes from farther down your throat and uses more force from your diaphragm. All slightly different, but they all hold different meanings when used in different words. Our next sound is an underlined X, which makes a throat clearing noise like Can you say This sound is made deep in your throat, and as I said, it's like you're clearing out your throat. An example of the sound used in a word is the word for medicine or leaf, which is khil. Can you say khil? The next sound is more so a lack of a sound. It is an apostrophe before letter indicating a brief pause or a hold from your diaphragm. So this sound, or lack thereof a sound, is more so made in your diaphragm. So an example of this is the word for afterlife world / heaven / heavenly space or creator's home. And this is sa'lana. So you heard the brief pause before the L in Alana. You're basically trying to make the sound, but holding it back in your diaphragm. Sa'lana. Can you say sa'lana? Another example, but using a W, is the word for everyone or a group of people. And this is wadlachan. Can you say wadlachan? Keep in mind that this one has the sound we're learning now, and the underlined X with a throat clearing noise. Wadlachan. Our next sound is nya. This one is a little more simple and it's often tacked on to the end of words. Can you make the sound nya? A word using this sound could be the word for a self-identifying man. Nang ijii niya. Can you say nang ijii niya? Next, we have our T sounds. So this one is a T with a tick. It's kind of like our K with the tick because the sound comes from the top of your mouth. However, with the T's, it more so comes from the very front of your mouth, behind your teeth. So this sound is t. Can you say t? So to make this sound, your tongue is really close to the top, the roof of your mouth behind your front teeth, and you're pushing out a t sound with a lot of air. An example of this sound used in a word is the word for tongue, which is t'ango. Can you say t'ango? Our next T sound is t. Again, just like the DL, it is another L indicates that it's longer. Can you make the sound t? An example using t in a word is the word for family, which is tulgusi. Can you say tulgusi? Our next sound is TL with an apostrophe. So it kind of combines the two T sounds that we learned. The apostrophe, the tick at the end, indicates that there's a bit of a click. So this sound is made by going t. Now this combines a lot of the different mouth movements we learned in previous sounds. So your tongue goes to the roof of your mouth in the front, just like sh or d, and sound is blown out either side, but instead of it just being a T air sound coming out the side, you're also clicking, where the K would be clicking in the middle at the top of your mouth. An example using this sound in a word is the word for nothing. Ah. Can you make the word ah? Ah. And using this sound is a little bit harder because it requires a lot of different mouth movements that often aren't used together. Our next one, also incorporating a lot of these different mouth movements, is TS with a tick. And this sound is similar to CH, but with a little more aggression to it. It is pronounced t. Can you make the sound t? An example of the sound used in a word is the word for western red cedar tree, Ts'uu. Can you make the sound Ts'uu? The photo here is a photo from myself and a group of people at Haida beside a very big Ts'uu. Hala, thank you. Now you have some basic Xaadya Kil sounds to help in learning different words that will be coming up in future Yahlnaaw Uu.iijii videos. Hala again, thank you.